Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to today's session of Covidence 101. A warm welcome to those joining us on Zoom and to everyone watching on YouTube Live. Today's session, we're going to show you how Covidence can save you time and help you better manage your review project. Picture this. You are surrounded by piles of papers, feeling very overwhelmed by all the reading and organizing you have to do for your review. And whether you're just thinking about starting your first review or you're deep in the trenches, overwhelmed by papers and data, the journey can feel daunting. So maybe you're excited but unsure where to begin, or perhaps you're stuck in the middle, frustrated by duplicate and tedious tasks. So wherever you are in your review process, and whether it's a systematic, scoping, or other type of review, Covidence is designed to simplify and streamline every step of your review process. So today we'll explore how Covidence can support you at any stage, helping you start strong, stay organized, and get the high quality results that you want faster and with less stress. My name is Kira Skandarani. I'm going to be the session presenter for today. I'm a consultant systematic reviewer at Covidence and I'm based in the United Kingdom. I'm also joined by my colleagues, Delinda, Sylvia, and Nancy, who will also help today with your questions. And today's session is being recorded. So for anyone who's attending the live session or not, you will receive a recording within the 24 hours of the session. And we'll have it available for you on our knowledge base, where you can then also download the link. So this session is running in standard webinar mode, meaning everyone is muted at the moment. However, you can ask questions. Please feel free to ask these questions in the Q&A or the chat. And again, my colleagues and myself will have a look at these questions and answer them in a timely manner. And we'll allow also time at the end of the session for Q&A. So what will we cover today? The first on the agenda is how to join Covidence. So for anyone who hasn't yet joined Covidence before, we'll show you how to set up your review, import your references, start your title and abstract and full text screening, and a very quick overview on data extraction and what we have as available tools, and show you the PRISMA chart and how to export your data. So before we just jump into the live demonstration for the day, I would like to give you a little bit of contextual information about Covidence. Covidence was created by and for the research community. It's a cloud-based software and was created to design and is designed to streamline the review process from importing your citations, the title and abstract screening, and full text screening, and finishing with data extraction and the assessment of the risk of bias. So the platform allows our review teams to significantly reduce the amount of time spent on your reviews. This means that you are able to produce high quality evidence faster. And we are a full-time team based around the world, continuously working on improving the product and providing technical support to our global user community. We support over 600,000 users globally and 450 plus universities, societies, and hospitals. So again, the platform's entirely cloud-based, nothing to down. So where does Covidence help in my review journey? So it's only when you are done with setting up your team and your research question, developing the search strategy, running the searches on the databases and other sources, and having a list of potentially relevant citations, this is when Covidence comes into the picture. This is exactly where you can start importing these citations to start your title and abstracts and full text screening, and then follows your data extraction, quality assessment. Then Covidence will help you explore this data outside, so you can provide this for a narrative synthesis, or more even do a meta-analysis, and then go ahead and proceed with the publication of your review. So Covidence is again a web-based software. It streamlines not only systematic, but also other literature reviews, all types for any disciplines. It's a tool to manage your review projects and collaborate on tasks, which will make your life easier, gives you time back, and storing everything in one place. So you all screen your studies, you retrieve the PDFs, you can track your workflow in line with the requirements of the PRISMA 2020, and extract your data. But what Covidence is not, it's not a reference manager, not a database or search engine, and also not a place, sorry, to perform any kind of meta-analyses or search for studies. But Covidence will allow you to export your data and import these into specific statistical packages where you can then do your numerical analyses or even a narrative summary. So just before we move on, I would like to run a poll to see how just to find out how confident you are about using the Covidence platform. So I will run the first poll and I'll launch that, and you should see it on your screen. I'll just allow a minute so that everyone can answer. Thank you very, very much for taking the time. And for anyone joining as well on YouTube, please note that we are posting the poll questions on YouTube as well. So you can provide and participate by typing your responses, please, in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much. Excellent. So far we have the majority of today's participants providing an answer. I'll allow a few more seconds and I'll end the poll shortly and share the results. Excellent. So I'll go ahead and end the poll now. Thank you all very much. So I can see now that most of you are not at all confident and somewhat confident. We have a few that are somewhat and some that are very, very confident. So we have a great variety in the audience. Thank you all very much. And this is again excellent because we will now move forward with the demonstration and hopefully whoever is really somewhat confident moves to the very confident and who is not at all to hopefully be somewhat confident and to use the platform for your review project. Thank you all very much. So I'll stop sharing and go ahead with the presentation. So for anyone who hasn't joined Covidence yet, you can try Covidence for free. Please scan this QR code, which redirect you to the following page, which I'm just going to show you shortly. But please take the time to scan this QR code, and my colleague as well, Sylvia, will share this link in the chat with everyone. So once you have scanned this QR code or clicked on the link, this will redirect you to the main landing page in the Covidence landing page where you can sign up for free. You just have to provide your first name, last name, and email address that you'd like to use as your username, along with additional information about yourself, and then you can go ahead and create this account. So again, you can trial out Covidence for free. For anyone who hasn't joined the Covidence platform yet, please do, using the QR code that I shared earlier or the link provided in the chat. And also, most people join Covidence via invitation similar to this one. So this particular invitation is to join a review, but you could also sometimes receive an invitation similar to this one to, let's say, to join in your institutional account as well. So the most important is to accept this invitation by clicking the blue button here, which will then redirect you to this landing page again, where you can either sign in if you have an existing account with Covidence or sign up and go ahead and um, fill in the information as shown earlier and go ahead and create this account. And once signed in, what will happen is this is going to take you to the main landing page or the main dashboard as well for all the reviews that you are part of, whether you have created these reviews or you've joined someone else's reviews or you have created these reviews under a different under your institutional account and so on. These will be separated into the dashboard as shown here. But just before we jump into the live demonstration, the last thing I really would like to highlight is one question we get asked a lot is how can we collaborate in Covidence? And the answer is simple. At Covidence, we love collaboration. You can collaborate regardless of your geographical location, regardless of your institutional affiliation, or even your subscription status, whether it's a free or a paid plan. Covenants make it easier for teams around the world to work together on the same review in real time. And so, whether you are actually creating this review part of your organizational account and inviting internal collaborators, you can even invite external collaborators. So, it's all one review, one place, collaborating on several tasks and making sure you save so much time to produce high quality evidence faster. Excellent. So now I'm still going to stop share for a second and I'll share again the live demo of the platform. Okay, so you should be all seeing now the Covidence main landing page or the dashboard for all my reviews at the moment. So now currently I'm signed in as in reader in my account. And this is the list of my reviews that probably I've created but also have joined. So the first thing you really need to do is to create and make use of your free trial review. And to do that, you click on the Start a New Review button. So once you're here, it will ask you if you're creating a Cochrane review. By the default is no. And if you are creating a Cochrane review, this is a different sign-in pathway. You should sign in through the Cochrane pathway at the time. But in this case, you just keep it no. You provide the name or title for your review, which could be informal or formal, but just making sure it should be unique. And then you just select the review type. And as I mentioned earlier, Covidence is for any discipline and for any review type. So whether it's a systematic review or a scoping review or rapid review, whatever you choose will not change the framework of the platform. It will remain the same for all review types. And whether you also choose whether it's an intervention review, whether it's a prognostic or a diagnostic review, it doesn't matter as long as, again, you choose what you really are working on, the framework will follow all review types and question types as well as any discipline. We do support, let's say, not only reviews in medical and health sciences and area of research, but also in arts and humanities, economy, business, engineering, education. The list can go on. So you select what the relevant area of research you are working on, and then you'll see your name. And what you'll see under your name is one free trial review, and then you select that here, and then you go ahead and create this review. So once you create this review, what you'll be redirected to is the review summary page of your review. So what I will do now is I'm going to pick a review, which is a demo review already in progress, that will look exactly the same when you actually create your review. So this is where you're going to land on. This is an active review, and the first thing you'll see is the review summary page. And this is also the standard review project framework, which is for any Covidence review, which is automatically generated when you create a new review on Covidence. And again, regardless of the type of review or question type or area of research, this is exactly the same view you're going to all see. And it will be divided into the three main steps of screening. So these panels cannot be created or deleted. They're all there for you to streamline the review process for you and to guide you. After importing the references comes the title and abstract screening. And then following this is the full text review screening. And then finally finishing with extraction. And what we'll also go through today is the settings on how to optimize the settings for your review and your review team. We'll have a look at how the PRISMA chart looks like and how to export your data. So let's begin by looking at how you can set up and manage the review by looking at the settings to optimize the experience. So there are 5 tabs here in the settings of the Covidence review, and the first tab is the review settings tab. Here you can update, again, the type and the name of your review or review type or question type and area of research that you have chosen in the very beginning. You can update these details at any time. And there are also hyperlinks of knowledge-based articles just to tackle the different types of reviews. What are these, just more explanation about the differences and more as well information and a link to our knowledge base about the different question types as well if you need more information. So in this case, you can update these details at any time. And again, making sure that this review is going to be relevant and regardless of the type of review or question type or area of research as well. What you'll also see next is some automation options, and you'll see the one enabled by default about using large language models and metadata. And this is available at our Extraction One tool. So we have some a large language model, machine learning enabled on Extraction One only at the moment. This is usually enabled by default. So if you choose to use Extraction One, you'll see some suggestions provided for you, which you can either accept or reject. But what you're also going to see is another automation option called the Cochrane RCT classifier, also known as the Cochrane randomized control classifier. And this is only enabled in case of, or you can enable it in case your area of research is medical and health sciences area. So if you choose a different area of research, this option will disappear. So as you can see. However, the moment you choose the medical and health sciences area of research, you have the option to enable these features, whether to tag these references by possibly reporting on a randomized control trial, or even automatically enabling the machine learning, which will auto-exclude these studies that are non-randomized control trials, even before starting any manual screening. So the more or less the purpose of this is to speed up the screening process. But again, this is only available at the medical and health sciences area of research. Next is here you're going to see how, and you're going to select how the review is going to function, such as how many reviewers are required to screen for both your title and abstract screening and full text review screening and data extraction. And by default, dual screening and extraction are selected, but you can switch to a single reviewer mode if needed. So in this case, what it really means to be two reviewers is in this case, you can be more than one reviewer, of course, unlimited number. However, on a review, however, there needs to be two votes cast on a reference for it to move to the next stage. And finally, you'll receive some information about the differences between our extraction tools. So we offer two extraction tools, Extraction 1 and 2. By default, usually Extraction 1 will be selected if you choose a systematic review. And it's optimized for intervention reviews as well as non-intervention reviews. However, it follows a structured way of data collection. So supports the dual and single reviewer extraction and provide the automated extraction suggestions on specific fields, exports to a CSV, Excel, and review manager software. And so it's recommended by Cochrane. Extraction 2 is optimized for any type of review and whether any question type, and more or less optimized for qualitative reviews. It doesn't follow any structured framework, however, more or less it's more flexible and supports as well dual and single reviewer extraction and exports to CSV at the moment only, which you can also open in Excel. Next is the Reviewers tab. Here you'll be able to invite more reviewers and remove reviewers as needed. And I need to note, if you're using the free trial review, you'll only be allowed to invite two reviewers into your review. However, if your review is part of a paid plan, then you can invite unlimited number of four reviewers. And you can, again, remove them or invite any additional reviewers from here as well. Just add the first name and their email, and then they'll receive this invite shown earlier where they can accept it and then create their free trial Covidence account and then join your review. Next is the team settings. So in the team settings, this will provide you with an overview of the team and individual contributions for the screening sections of your review. So in this case, you can monitor overall how the team is doing with screening, but also the individual contributions of each reviewer. But what you can also do here is set up rules, such as you'd like to manage who would like, let's say, the references to be screened, all references to be screened by who, or just no one in specific. And also you can set up who you'd like to resolve the conflicts. So in this case, anyone by default, but if you need to select specific colleagues, maybe senior colleagues from your team to resolve the conflicts, then you select their name from this drop-down menu. And this is the very same overview as well, but this is for the full text review section. You'll see the team progress and the individual contribution and the addition to manage the rules and conflicts as well. In terms of for the extraction, if your review is set up in extraction 2 at the moment, you only see the team progress bar. There's no option for rules. But if you are set up in extraction 1, you'll be able to see such the option for rules and the individual contributions as well as the team progress in the theme settings. Next is my eligibility criteria. So here I can manage or add my inclusion and exclusion criteria. And this is something, let's say, that could follow a specific PICO or a PACO framework, as you can see, but not necessarily. You have another option here where you can have a box for to add or list the inclusion criteria and your exclusion criteria from your review protocol. And what's great about it really is that you're going to be able to display this on your screening while you're screening, so you can more or less encourage consistent approach or decision making across the team. So in this case, you'll have the first thing is instead of going back and forth, really, just always making sure what is the inclusion and reminding yourself what is really you're including or excluding, but also that you'll be able to display that and also make sure that everyone have the right inclusion and exclusion criteria right in front of them to maintain the consistent decision making across the team. But what you also see here in this section is the ability to add highlights. So you can add the inclusion exclusion keywords or phrases, which will appear as highlights in the screening. So in this case, if you're adding any keyword or phrase under the inclusion section, these will be highlighted in green, and we'll show you this in a bit. And for the exclusion as well, keywords or phrases relevant to your exclusion criteria, this will show in red as well while you're screening. And this is all to speed up your screening process, and we'll show you how this will look like shortly. The final thing you'll see and will be able to manage on this section is being able to add the exclusion reasons. And in this case, there will be some presented by default, and these exclusion reasons are going to be available for you to choose from at the full text review stage. So you are prompted to give a reason for exclusion when you're doing the full text review screening process. So there will be some that will be added by default, which you can delete, but also add your own as well from here from this list at any time. The final thing is the study tags tab, which will then help you. And these are just examples here, which you can see there are awaiting classification and ongoing study tags, which are added by default and cannot be deleted. However, you can add as many tags such as these examples here, which then will be useful to identify and filter by group of studies. So in this case, you want these ones that have a specific language, or you want to, let's say, more or less filter by studies that you're going to assign to specific teams, or something to come back or to do, or going to be relevant for your background reading, for your manuscript, writing, anything relevant. Just add a tag, and once you have that added, you'll be able to filter by these tags at a later stage. So this is a very quick overview about how to set up your settings. So what we'll see next is how to import your references. So now I make sure that my settings are all set up for my team. The next thing is I have obtained some, let's say, citations, and I would like to import them. So what we're going to demo now is the how to obtain it, let's say, from PubMed, a database, and how to obtain these citations and how to export them and import them into Covidence. But one thing I really need to mention here really is Covidence allows you to import references, unlimited number of references. There's no there's no limit to the number of references you can import, and this is whether you're working on a trial review or a full access review with a paid plan. However, there is a file size limit per batch, around 15,000 references, approximately 50 megabytes, but you can import as many batches as you need to meet the review requirements. And Covidence currently accept three formats for file imports. First one is the EndNote XML format. The next is the PubMed text format, which is coming from PubMed directly, which we're going to demonstrate shortly. And the final one is the RIS for text formatted file, which also is provided by most databases. So in this case, what I will do is I will switch to PubMed shortly. And I've just done a quick search on PubMed, and which is an open access database, vitamin C and common cold. And I've obtained, let's say, 372 results. And the way to do it is I'll select all results, and I'm happy to do all of and export all of them. And then I'll select the PubMed text format. So this is the format you need to click on when you export from PubMed. This will produce the PubMed text formatted file. This will create the file, and this will go to my downloads. I'm going to go now into another review that is empty and show you the process when you click on the import and click on this file, what will happen. So first step, you'll select the review process or the stage of the review process where you'd like the references to appear in. And most people will select the screen stage, which is the very first step of screening, where you where all your references will import into your title and abstract screening stage. So in this case, you click on the screen, and there's next a place where you can actually keep track of which database or other source references came in. And this is by selecting one of these options. So in this case, knowing that my references came from PubMed, then I select the PubMed format in here. And if I do not find the source I need, I go to this manage source icon and add the one I need. So it could be the gray literature, for example. And I added, for example, so this is something they do not have on the list, and I'm happy to add it. And also, let's say I'm adding a source from OpenAlex, for example, other databases, sources, etc. So anything that I do not find on this list, and then I choose the file from my downloads and import it. So now Covidence will find these references, import them, and will show you import in progress. It will show the number that actually I'm importing, 372 references. So since I haven't, let's say, imported this file into an existing review, Covidence will still deduplicate these single file as well. Excuse me. So now I go back to the import and click on my import history. This will take me to the file that I've imported from PubMed. It will say the date I imported the file, the name, but also the actual number of references. But now Covidence automatically deduplicate the references within the single file. And in case I'm importing this file into an existing review, what will happen is we'll import and deduplicate these references against the previous imports as well. But when within this single file at the moment, it only detected two duplicates, which I'll be able to then view at any time and have a look at and just make sure that if it's exactly the same one they're referring to, and if not, you can click on not a duplicate, and this will take it to the screening stage. And you'll see another list for the manually marked duplicates and auto marked as ineligible. So what I will do, I'll take you back to this review at the moment, which will have some references already imported. So we've already imported some references in addition to these already previous reference files. So now the duplicates were detected against the single file in the previous imports. So you can carry on importing references at any time at the review stage. Covidence will continue to deduplicate your references. And in case some have slipped through the net, they can then manually be marked as duplicates in the screening stage. And as well as if there's anything that was auto-marked as ineligible by the Cochrane RCT classifier, they will appear here. Okay. So one thing I'd like to also highlight, in case your file was an addition of multiple sources, really, and it didn't just come from PubMed itself, just came from different databases. So it might be that you have this file all in, let's say, a reference manager like EndNote or Zotero, and are they're like a library of references coming from different databases and other sources, but you're ready to export all in one single file and import it into Covidence. That's absolutely fine. We can do that. So the way to do it is you can just ignore the source option here and just go back to the import history page, and then in the source option within that file, select the different sources where the file is, where the database, or sorry, where the references are coming from. So whether it's, let's say, one single file of 1587 that I exported from an unknown library, but it was coming from different databases such as CINAHL, PubMed, and ERIC, and then I add these different number of references into the different stages, sorry, into the different databases, other sources as well, and allocate the exact number. So now I have more or less a track on from but within how many references came from each source, regardless of that I'm importing one file or importing them one in one go or separate files. And what's more important is these will all be tracked in the PRISMA chart as well, in line with the PRISMA 2020 requirements. Okay, so I think we've done it so far, a lot of sections, and what I would like to do is stop here for a few minutes to allow questions, um, and to see if you have any questions as well. Hi, Sylvia. Sorry, I cannot hear you. Oh, unfortunately, I cannot hear you. Yeah, sorry, Sylvia. Thank you.
Yeah, so we have a number of questions coming in, and probably one that I would like you to talk about is how to switch from single to dual reviewer mode in the settings section.
Okay, excellent. So single to dual. So the default is dual screening, and if you want to switch to single reviewer, you can switch to single from the settings. But in case you have done some screening as a dual reviewer mode, then what will happen is then you'll see is warning similar to this one, and letting you know that if you do the switch, it will not allow you to do it. It will allow you to do it, to switch back to dual, but it will not, once you have, let's say, invited an additional core reviewer, they will not be able to see these references because they will not automatically move back in bulk. Um, and then for you to vote on as a second reviewer. So making sure that, in other words, when you switch from a dual to single, this is a decision that needs to be made in a way to understand that once you do the single reviewer mode and vote on these references, and then decide to invite someone else from the team to do the dual screening, these votes that you have already done will not move automatically or not even undo in bulk, but you have to do them one by one. And if the question is to set this up from a single to dual, then this is exactly what you'll also receive. That this warning is going to tell you you've already moved these references into the final stages, and it will be hard to, let's say, undo. You can undo them one by one, but or reset the whole review for you. You can contact us and we can do that, but you have to start from scratch in case you do that. Sylvia, I hope this answered the question as well, to make sure that they're aware of the consequences and so on.
Exactly. So thank you so much for that. We also had a question on, do the inclusion and exclusion term highlights show for all reviewers in the team?
Yes, 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 it does, and I will demonstrate this shortly, just in a few moments. Yeah, which will allow probably a minute or two for questions now. But yes, I will demo this shortly, and we'll see them together, how they actually look like on the screening stage.
Also, thank you. So we also had another question on any benefits of adding the search strategy as well as the date of the last search, just on the same.
Yeah, great, thank you. So yeah, it's really optional. It's just more or less to keep track. So what's good about adding the date of the last search, it's just in case, with reviews, sometimes it gets updated on a yearly basis. And so when you do the last search, you want to make sure you keep all, the dates on track and all the team on track on when the last search was done. So this is really helpful, and we have calendar that for you, to allow you to do that. And also you can post all the search strategies from the different databases and other sources that you have used and provided and created with your information specialist or librarian, and just to keep track of these. But you can, instead of having them outside of Covidence, you can just keep this as just as your repository of things. Again, because it's just one place for everything. So if you want to just manage and keep things track of everything in one review, you can just, there's a place for them, but it's really optional and up to the team.
Yeah, so we have so many questions coming in, but probably the last one for now is there's someone asking that after importing references, can they be deleted from Covidence?
Yes. So in this case, if you imported references and you've decided you've done a mistake, what you could do, if I know, in this case, I'll show you this in this example. If no screening has been done, what will happen is you'll see an undo import. At the moment, I've done some screening, so the undo import is disabled in either way. But this is a good example. So there will be an undo import section, sorry, icon, which you can, or button you can click on. This will then remove all the references from your review and you can import a new batch. In case you start screening on these, let's say, references from this file, the undo import will be disabled, as you can see, but you can write to us at support@covidence.org, where myself and the rest of the community team will be able to help you reset them and give you a blank review where you can import a new batch or new references. All excellent questions. Thank you so much, Sylvia. So what I will do next is move to the title and abstract screening stage, which is again the first stage of screening. So this is the panel. What you will see here is it's more or less divided into two sections, the left side and the right-hand side. And I'll explain to you what this actually means for each panel. So the left side of these panels are going to be exactly the same for every single reviewer logging into the review. So in terms of the color coding, as long as in terms as well of the numbers and the team progress of how much screening each has been done, how much screening has been done by the whole team. And what the right-hand side will show you is going to be different and depending on how much screening each reviewer has done and what is still available. So in case what I'm saying now is 1,926, and I've screened 0 studies, this is not going to be the same for Nancy, Sylvia, and Melinda. So everyone logging into the review on the right-hand side, what you'll see is exactly what you have done and your contributions to the screening. So I click on continue, and this will take me to my screening list. And what I would expect is my titles and abstract information ready for me here. And as well as the 3 buttons that will more or less direct you on how, once you click on these buttons, how these references will move. We'll shortly have a look at that. But now that we had a question about the highlights, if you are interested to show highlights in the title and abstract screening, you click on the more options and you click on highlights here. You can enable or disable showing you can hide or show the abstracts as well as the highlights under the more options as well here from the toolbar. So in this case now, I can see that a lot of keywords or phrases relevant to my inclusion criteria are actually highlighted in green, and the ones not relevant uh, to my review or relevant to the exclusion criteria, I highlighted in red. So this is a great example. And currently, pediatric is one of my exclusion, so I can directly make my decision quickly. And also what you could see is, and we have talked about it, is the ability to more or less show and hide the inclusion exclusion criteria. So in this case, let's say I would like to keep this to enable consistent decision making across the team. So I can keep on viewing it and I carry on screening and add, voting on these references, and then I can actually hide it at any time. So this is things we have included and added in the settings of my review, and now I'm making use of it at the button and or the screening stage. So let's say you are the first person as well to screen these references. What you'll see is 3 buttons, and the moment you click on any of these buttons, what will happen is, and you have probably the first one to actually screen, then the references, as you can see, will move to the waiting other reviewer list. And this is a list that is really unique to you, and you can still choose to change the vote if needed. But the moment someone else from your team has cast a second vote, then the references will move to the next stages, depending, of course, on how and you and your colleague have voted. So if you've both voted no, then the references will move to the relevant references list. If you've both voted yes or maybe, and let's say, then the reference will move to the next stage, which is the full text review stage. So the yes and maybe are more or less the same. And if you've voted in conflict with one another, let's say maybe, yes, someone have voted yes or a maybe, but also someone else have voted no, then the references will move to the conflict list. What you'll see is who voted, their names, but not how they voted, because blinding is maintained throughout the whole process. And it will still be maintained across the conflict resolution stage. And if you are in the settings are allowed to resolve the conflicts, then you'll see another set of yes, maybe, and no, like similar to this here. So I'm one assigned to resolve the conflicts in the settings, and so I can see another set of yes, maybe, and no. So what all I need to do is go ahead and click one of these buttons, and this will move the references to the next stage depending on how I voted. And one thing I would like to note is that we do have some machine learning enabled into the platform and the screening stage, which will help you speed up the screening process. How does it do that? So this is something called priority screening. In other words, what will happen is that this machine learning in the back end will identify the trends and behavior of your screening and will note what have you actually, let's say, included or what have you excluded. So it then uses those trends to reorder the list and display the studies that are most likely to be included at the top of your review. So meaning this means that the most likely to be included at the top will be listed at the top of your screening list. So this is known as, in other words, as priority screening, and it's part of our machine learning. And of course, the more references you screen, the more the prediction, accurate prediction will be. And it will be activated by a pop-up window, which will show you that this machine learning now has been activated. And the most likely to be included will show at the top of this list. One thing I also would like to show is the tagging functionality. So in this case, we mentioned that we have added tags, and they're very useful to filter a list of studies. So if I click on the tags button here, it will actually prompt me to select one or more of these studies that I'd like to tag. So I'll go ahead and let's say and select these ones here, and then the moment I do is I will then select the tag I would like. So I'm happy to tag them as background reading and also good for my methodology. I apply these tags with my references. You can see that they're visible, and you can also add the notes at any time, and you can edit it or delete it. And this also, what I would like to highlight is that these tags will remain on attached and notes attached to your references as they move across the different lists or stages of the review. But what also I need to ensure that everyone is aware of that these tags and notes are also visible and they're not blinded. So make sure that when you add them, they do not contain any decision making or opinion, and make sure that they don't introduce bias to your screening. And I think one thing I really forgot to probably mention when I was talking about the priority screening is that the only way the priority screening to be is activated is when you actually sort by the most relevant, which is usually the default sorting option. So I just wanted to make sure I highlight this as well. Um, and you can sort, of course, by any other as well option, but the most relevant is the default sorting option, and this is the one you need to activate the priority screening um, feature, machine learning. So if you want to filter by the tags, as I mentioned earlier, you can click on the filter. You can then search by the tag, and let's say I want to filter the references that I actually are relevant to my background reading. I apply this, and then it will give me only the list of references, the 4 studies that have this exact tag. And so you can filter by this tag in different lists because the references will move across to different stages of the review. So you can carry on and and carry on filtering by these tags as well. So this is really handy in case as well that they are where they remain available and attached to these references because they move across different, once you start screening, they will not remain in your screening list. However, they move to these different lists as you can see. And yes, and more thing is ability to manually mark duplicates. This is something we have also mentioned earlier, and this is in case some of these references move, you can they have probably moved across, slipped through the net, um, and they weren't detected automatically by the system. Then you can just manually mark them as duplicates, and you can have as well the option to undo this. As well, this, let's say, for example, this reference, if you have actually made any kind of mistake and clicked on the wrong button, and so you can quickly undo and just return the actual reference to your screening list as I'm just doing now. Okay, so following the title and abstract screening stage is my full text review stage. And the most important things and differences mainly between both stages is that on the full text review stage, you will be prompted to attach the PDFs to your references, and there will only be two voting options whether to include and exclude your reference. So the main thing is to know that any references that are open access, they will be able there will be ability to then move on and have attach these PDFs for you automatically. So Covidence will automatically detect these open access PDFs and attach them for you automatically. And the way to actually ensure that has happened is through a statement similar to this one. Full text uploaded by Covidence Open Access. So you just go ahead and open this PDF. So knowing that now Covidence have obtained this open access PDF for me and have attached it automatically to my reference. But for the rest that you need to upload, of course, individually, probably they are still closed access. Then you can do that using the, let's say, if I filter by the ones that needs full text, so you can filter by how many has full text and how many needs their full text attached. So you'll see a button similar to this one, upload full text, which then you can drag and drop the actual PDF you have saved on your computer, or you can choose the file. And also, what you could do is really more or less do it in bulk, and this will save you time. So it might be not only 90 references that you have, but even more references, even 100 and 200 references that are still awaiting their full text to be attached to them. So we recommend using our bulk upload full text, mode or feature. And my colleague Sylvia can now also share this knowledge base article about how to import the rest of your PDFs in bulk and save you time in doing so. We have a video tutorial on how to do that as well. So in this case, it's a three-step process where then you'll be prompted to provide to download and then let's say that sorry to download the list of these references that are awaiting their full text. And then this RS formatted text file, you can actually then upload it to either EndNote or Zotero, and we have guides, separate guides on how to use either of these software and notes reference managers softwares. And then once you have sourced all the PDFs in these and EndNote, whether it's Zotero, you export all this information, the PDFs, along with the folder, along with the EndNote XML file into the search step, so you can attach all these in bulk to your references in the full text review stage. So it's a very quick overview, but that's why I encourage you to visit our knowledge base, link to this feature, and it provides you with step-by-step process. And as well, we have a video tutorial which will help you and guide you on how to perform this in details. So we have as well the option here in this case to whether to include or exclude your reference. And in this case, if you are prompted to give a reason for exclusion, as I mentioned earlier at the full text review stage, so they can choose then the exclusion reason. And once you have confirmed, and let's say someone else from your team has also excluded the reference for the same reason, then the references will move to the excluded references list. If you've both voted to include the reference, then the reference will move to the final stage, which is the extraction stage. And if you've voted in conflict with one another, so what will happen is that you might come across two different types of, let's say, conflicts. The first one, as you see, is that when reviewers agree to exclude, but for a different reason for exclusion. So then in this case, you need to meet with the people who have voted and make a decision of what is the most likely reason to be, for this reason to be excluded. And the most other common type of conflict you might see is when reviewers agree to, let's say, reviewers do not agree to whether to include or exclude the reference. In this case, you can see still their names, how they vote, but not how they voted, because also blinding will still be maintained throughout the screening process at the full text review stage. And if you're prompted to give or resolve these conflicts, similar to mine, what you'll see another include and exclude button, and this will then help you more or less make the defining decision, and then this reference will move to the final stage, depending on how you voted. And of course, the last thing I would like to add here is that we have similar features about keeping on showing the criteria for inclusion and exclusion, more option on adding highlights. You can actually disable it at any time, so you do not need to keep it. You have the option to view the abstracts if you still need to, and then also the ability to filter by tags or by how many has full text and needs full text. And of course, the ability to add tags in a similar way we did and added them at the title and abstract screening stage. You could still manually mark duplicates as well at this stage if you have missed these ones at the title and abstract, and they have missed and they have been moved into the next stage as well. So you can still do that as well at any time. Okay, so this covers the screening stages, our title and abstracts and full text review. So what we're not going to cover today is our extraction stage. It is more pretty complex, and we do, and again, it's a lot of material for today. And so the general 101, we do have provide recordings and step-by-step series on our extraction tools, as well as, and different sections of the platform. But the main thing as well to note is in extraction in Covidence can be done in using two tools as shown and indicated earlier in the settings. And definitely you can have a look at the knowledge base article that my colleague could also share with you in the chat. That will provide you with a detailed, more or less, differences on what is really different between these tools. And then, of course, I will show you at the end of the session of the demo review on how to access it. And this will be, you'll be able then to test out which one will mostly suit your review needs. And now finally, we'll at the stage of how to export your data. So you're not going to be able only to export the data at the extraction stage, but also different lists as well, and in a different format. So if in case you choose the different CSV format, that will export your notes and let's say tags and exclusion reasons that you have indicated at the full text review stage in separate columns. And then anything if you choose around EndNote, Mendeley, RefWorks, or Zotero, this will produce an RIS formatted text file which you can import into, let's say, different reference managers. You can export integrate and reliability for CAPA scores for both your title and abstract and full text review screening, and only exports in CSV format. And then finally, if you are exporting your data at the extraction to stage, you can only export in a CSV format, which you can open in Excel. And you can choose to, let's say, export only the consensus only data or all data. And once you prepare the file, this will actually be available for you then to download at a later stage and open it in Excel again or Google Sheet if needed. So in this case, you have a different view. If you are suited in extraction one, you'll have an additional section to export it to Review Manager software as well, and as well as the Excel option in addition to the CSV. So in this case, the most important that to know that you can export not only your extracted data, but also some different references and also the CAPA scores information. Finally, is the Prisma chart. And this is like the most exciting and my favorite part of the platform, because I know this is a very complex one to take care of. The numbers are very important for your reporting of your systematic review. And to keep track of the numbers is really, really something very like takes energy and make sure that an anxiety at some stages if you really miss where you have stored these numbers, because they're again very important in line of reporting. And our Prisma chart aligns with the Prisma 2020 statement. So once you are actually working in review, what you'll see is these numbers actually populating automatically. And what you'll see as well is a breakdown for the reason of exclusion at the review stage. at the full text review stage, as well as a breakdown of the sources and import sources that you have as well selected for your different references that you have imported. And this is all to align with the PRISMA 2020 statement. So once you are happy with them, you're done with your screening, and you have included a certain number of studies, or what you'll see is as well the duplicates detected manually, but also by Covidence. And if you have used any automation, such as like Cochrane RCT classifier, all will be visible to you on the Prisma. You can eventually download it as a Word document, where you then which will actually look like exactly the same as the Prisma 2020 statement. And you can either use the same Prisma chart that we provide, or you can populate the numbers provided into your own manuscript Prisma chart. Okay, so this is really more or less completes the overview of the review project framework and Covidence. What I will do is I need to show you how to access the demo review before I switch to my slides. And in this case, once you are back on your main dashboard, in this case, you just need to go into the bottom of the review that you have listed, and then you'll see the demo review available at the bottom. And once you click on it, it will more or less give you a similar view to the one I just, provided with the demo review. And it resets regularly, so you can have actually try out any functionalities of the Covidence platform, including the extraction tools, which you can switch between the tools back and forth. This is will not, in any way change anything, any aspect of your reviews, and you can carry on using that, let's say, tool, but then change into another one, but the most important thing that what you have used in extraction one will not transfer into the extraction two, and vice versa. So in this case, you can try out any of these tools back and forth, and also any kind of functionality around the actual the Covidence functionality in case of screening or anything. It's really handy to try out our demo review. And now what I will need to do is share back my slides with you all to share what's next. So what to do next is try Covidence for free and create and set up your trial review. And also don't forget to test the demo review that I've just shown you how to access it. And sign up for our next webinar. So we have an upcoming webinar in November, and you can scan the QR code as well for more details. So you can register at any time. If you cannot attend the live session, you can just register. You'll receive a recording within the 24-hour session. It's about our scoping reviews, purpose and process, and we're going to be having and inviting a guest speaker to this webinar. So if anyone who's really interested in scoping reviews, I highly recommend registering for this webinar. So my colleague is also putting the link into the chat for everyone. And the final thing is I would like to run the final poll for today, and my apologies for finishing at the hour, but I will still need a few more minutes. So for anyone who's able to stay on with us for a few more minutes, that would be excellent. So I'm going to launch the second poll at the moment, and I will appreciate you taking the time to as well fill in this second poll. Thank you all very, very much. Excellent. So a few more seconds and I'll end the poll. Great. So in this case, I'll share the results with you. So now, after watching the actual webinar, we have more that are now very confident, and we have as well the majority that are somewhat confident. This is excellent, and very few that are not confident at all. This is excellent results, and I really hope that you found today's presentation and demonstration helpful for you to start your review process in using the Covidence platform. And I would like to share exciting and great news with you today. Really, it's really exclusive at the moment. You are the first group of our community to have access to this ebook, Understanding the Review Types in Research. And it will be officially released tomorrow. So please scan this QR code. And my colleague as well, Sylvia, is now putting the link in the chat for all of us to have a look. And if you scan this QR code or use the link, it will prompt you to download this ebook, and you will have access to this ebook on to allow you to access it in a different, sorry, in ebook way, sorry, in soft download, which will allow you to have a look at the different types of reviews in research, whether it's a systematic, what is a scoping review, what are the differences between two, and how they differ. So I'm very happy to share this link with you as a resource. Thank you, Sylvia, for sharing the link, and thank you all for scanning the QR code. This is very exclusive to you today, and it's going to be released tomorrow. So stay tuned as well, and please feel free to access it today and to have all this new information ready. And also, you can scan our QR code for the ebook bundle that we have on protocol development, screening, as well as data extraction. So if you're just starting with your review process, whether it's a systematic or scoping or other type of review, I highly recommend these ebooks. This is a very good way to start understanding the methodology of these types of reviews, as well as how to do the protocol development, the screening, and data extraction, which is the most complex stage. Um, you're just starting, we're here to help you and save you some time as well. So with all these resources and with the whole platform saving you time with streamlining the review process, we're all here to help you as in any way possible. So please feel free to contact us at support@covidence.org for any questions. We are a global team and we usually receive the answer within 24 hours. And please visit our knowledge base at any time as well. Sylvia will also add the link to our knowledge base where you can access it. It's a very comprehensive guide to using the platform. It will have a lot of video tutorials and articles on how to use each section of the review framework in Covidence. So that's really completes our today's session. And what I will do is I'll ask Sylvia if there are further questions that weren't taken by the question in the chat. And I'm happy to really stay and allow few more minutes for everyone who's willing to stay on the live session for the questions. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Sylvia.
Thank you so much, Keita, for that presentation. We have a number of questions, and probably I just selected a few for this session.
Okay.
And one of them is, are there ways to assign different reviewers to certain tasks? I would appreciate if you could share this information.
Great question. Thank you, Sylvia. So at the moment, Covidence doesn't support the functionality of assigning specific preference to different groups. But what you could do, and I can actually share my screen again, is go through, remember when we went through the actual team settings. So let's say I'm on this review. Oops. Yeah. So you should see my screen, right, Sylvia? So you can see my screen. I'm on the review. Excellent.
Sure.
So in this case, let's say I'm on the team settings again, which will show the overall team progress, but also the individual contributions of each reviewer. So you cannot really assign them, but what you could do is more or less assign the specific number to each reviewer. And so in this case, you indirectly assign a specific number of references to each reviewer. So Laura, you have 500, and Elise, you have 200. And so they can monitor, and you can monitor their actual contribution to these voting options in progress in the team settings. But like selecting a bunch of these, let's say, references, we do not, encourage it as the whole screening list is very much random. And the moment the one reference, gets onto it and gets voted on by two people, it moves to the next stage randomly and so on. So in this case, the mostly what you could do is overall encourage the more or less oversight of the team and the team settings of the contribution of each one from the team settings. Thank you, Sylvia. The next, yeah.
Thank you so much. Another question is, can Covidence assess for risk of bias?
At the moment, we're not going to tackle the quality assessment in depth with the data collection, the data extraction, but we do support, not only randomized control trials or the Cochrane risk of bias assessment tool, but also You can customize your own quality assessment template using either extraction 1 or extraction 2. But if you can also, Sylvia, share in the chat the further information about any recent recordings to extraction 1 or extraction 2 demos, we do provide some information about the quality assessment as well in these webinars.
Sure, I'll do that in a minute.
Thank you.
Another question is, what if I just want to select a subset of titles and abstracts for dual screening, and then the rest should be screened by only one reviewer?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Yes, you can always start by dual screening. And this is definitely understandable in different specific methodology. You will be able then to start dual screening. So the first thing is the default is dual screening. So you do not need to do anything. You can then monitor again the overall progress of the how much, let's say you're hoping for 20% of these to be dual screen. So you'll see Laura, Annalise, and Rita how much, let's say they screened up to 20%. And and then you can just go back to the settings and switch to single, and then let's say maybe assign the whole references to lower the screen at once you
Sure.
switch to single. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Gida. And also someone is asking, can you select multiple exclusion criteria at full text review? Is it possible to preset a hierarchy or logic around the exclusion decisions at the full text stage?
Yeah, this is also a very excellent question. So at the full text review stage at the moment, when you start with editing your exclusion reasons, what you'll see some exclusion reasons that are added by default. But what you could do, and the hierarchy that we provide is the most likely to be chosen, and you would like it to be selected. We highly recommend that you start adding it on this list, the last one. So let's say I want A to appear at the top. I start with C, and then B. Sorry, actually, it's the other way around. So actually, I start with A. My apologies. Let's see. Yes. So you start with the one you need. So A was started at the top. So you can just ignore the ones but the hierarchy is in ascending. So in case you want A to be at the top, you start with A and then B and C will follow. So the one that is most likely that you would like it to be selected um, most often as well, and you'd like it to be on the top of this list, you can select it, you can type it to be the first one. If you'd like to add anything, Sylvia, please let me know. I hope that was helpful as well.
Sure. Okay, I think that is clear. And then we have another question of someone asking, do we always need more than one reviewer in the review?
Sorry, excuse me.
Do we always need more than one reviewer in the
Yes,
systematic
yes,
review
yeah. I
process?
mean, no, you do not need, but I mean, if it's your dissertation and you're not, planning on publishing, but mostly from a methodological perspective, if you plan to publish, you need a second reviewer. And specifically, of course, it depends on what type of review you're doing. If it's a systematic review, yes, you need a second reviewer, mostly if you'd like to publish it. But it really all depends on the different types as well of review you're working on, and what is the purpose for it as well.
Sure. Okay. I think the other questions are mostly either repetitive or have been answered or are on extraction. So I think for those that were looking to know more about extraction, we shared a link on our pre-recorded webinars on that. And we have other sessions on that. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Geeta.
So Sylvia, just I think in the chat someone mentioned that the link to the ebook, the new one, is not working. If you can just please post it again. Um, yeah, thank you very much. Excellent. Just in case, we can post it again one last time. And I think the one for the ebook is working for the bundle, which I have it now, but I don't think the one for the new. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, this is the link. Please, yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we've shared the new link now in the chat. Please feel free to click on that as well. Thank you, Sylvia, so much. And I think it's time for us to wrap up. Thank you all very much for your time and extra time. And apologies for going a little bit on the hour. But it was a pleasure taking you through the Covidence platform. It was a pleasure to, for me as well, to go through the whole Covidence platform with my colleagues, Nancy, Sylvia, and India. Thank you all for your help from the back end as well. And thank you for everyone who's joined us on YouTube and for all your answers as well in the chat. Again, try out Covidence for free at any time. And don't forget the demo review if you need to. And always contact us for any questions at support@covidence.org. So it was a pleasure taking you through today's session. Have a nice rest of your day wherever you are. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye bye.